Alright, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantomania officially kicks off Phase 5 of the MCU. And based off of the reactions that I'm seeing and reading, a lot of people are split right down the middle and don't really know how to feel about this movie. However, if there's one thing that we can all come together and all agree on, is that Jonathan Majors' Kang the Conqueror is freaking awesome. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is the third movie in the Ant-Man trilogy. So basically the movie is about Scott Lang's daughter Cassie is tinkering with the quantum realm, and she tinkers so much that the whole Ant family gets stuck down there with Kang, and now they're just trying to find their way back home. And as I said in the opening, Jonathan Majors as Kang absolutely kills it in this film. Now, I'm not saying that he carries the entire film because he's not in there enough to do that, but what I am saying is that whenever Kang is on screen, his presence, his aura stands head and shoulders above everybody else in the film.
You're an Avenger. Have I killed you before?
Another thing that I really enjoyed about this movie was the first half of the film. I mean, listen, I'm not the biggest fan of the Ant-Man films. I thought Ant-Man 1 and 2 were fine, but the different style and tones of this movie is vastly different from the first two Ant-Man that I really appreciated it. And I don't know if it was me, but a lot of this movie reminded me of the Disney Star Wars trilogy. I don't know if some of the writers or producers worked on that trilogy and then came on for this movie, but there's a lot of stuff that was just going on in here that I was like, I remember that. Did not happen, and it was just a little bit too much on the nose for me. The biggest problem of the film that I had outside of Kang was the whole second half of the movie. Because just as much as the first half of the movie was different, the second half of the movie was more of the same things that I just don't care about in the MCU. And I'm not saying it's bad, but I am saying that when you see multiple properties doing the same thing, it starts to wear on you a little bit. The two characters that I found myself just rolling my eyes at the most was MODOK and Scott's daughter Cassie Lang. I never took MODOK seriously, even when I read him in the comics. I mean, he's a big head with tiny arms and tiny legs. I mean, I find that hilarious. I mean, taking him seriously is like taking Calendar Man from DC Comics seriously. But I have to say, Cassie Lang, Scott Lang's daughter, annoyed me to no end. I mean, look, no spoilers here, but there's actually a scene in the movie where she's kind of mocking her dad for the reason why she was alone for 5 years, even though he was trapped in the quantum realm. I mean, just straight up being snarky for no reason. She comes off as just annoying and ungrateful. And I gotta say, unfortunately, out of all the young Avengers that we've been introduced to so far, she has to be my least favorite. So I've seen this movie in IMAX 3D, and I have to say that the CG looked way better than I thought it was gonna look. I started actually believing the hype that it was gonna look more like Spy Kids 3D or Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but outside of MODOK, they actually did a really good job. The overall reason why I would put this movie above a Black Widow, The Eternals, and Thor Love and Thunder is because of Jonathan Majors' performance as Kang. I truly believe that Marvel sat down and actually thought to themselves, what was a good way to introduce the next Thanos level big bad? And even though this movie was very subpar, having Kang the Conqueror in here raised the movie up another level for me. And it actually made me more excited to see what's next in the phase. I really feel like, at least for me, this movie suffered from expectations. Like I said earlier, I wasn't the biggest fan of Ant-Man 1 and Ant-Man 2, but just seeing Kang the Conqueror, knowing that he was going to be in it, I expected a lot more from it, and that I have to say that was more my fault than more the movie's fault. Now that I'm thinking of it, it is something about this movie that truly grinded my gears. And it's not just this movie, but there's several movies that do it too. And trust me, it's not a spoiler, but it's the thing that there's something really important to tell somebody, but they keep going like, oh, we don't have time. Oh, we don't have time. Knowing how important it is, but then later on in the movie, you see them talking about something that has nothing to do with anything, and you're just like, okay, you guys were at least together for like a few hours. You could have just gave them like little cliff notes, but then you keep going like, no, can't tell you. No, can't tell you. No, can't tell you. It's like, why do you do? Just tell them. But all right, the start of Phase 5. Have you guys seen it? What did you think? Let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.